2015's The Night Before is a millennial coming-of-age story shrouded in smoke. Let's be clear, this is up there with the likes of Pineapple Express as a stoner comedy, just turned up with the amount of different drugs used. But there's a sweetness about vulnerability, honesty, friends and family that cuts through the haze. With its stellar cast and playful take on A Christmas Carol, it's a coming-of-age stoner buddy comedy laced with warm holiday cheer. Reuniting writer-director Jonathan Levine with a 50-50 star Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen for a not-so-family-friendly Christmas romp that's both hilarious and surprisingly touching. It's a legitimately great Christmas movie that I find myself rewatching year after year. The movie begins on a somber note with Ethan, a 30-something aspiring musician who has been stuck in life since his parents were killed by a drunk driver around Christmas time. Since the accident, he and his two best friends, Isaac and Chris, have maintained an annual holiday tradition of partying together on Christmas Eve, one that includes karaoke, the Rockefeller Center tree, and the hunt for the Nutcracker Ball, a mysterious and inclusive event that promises a life-changing partying experience. After 10 years, Isaac and Chris have decided it's time to call it quits. Then Ethan discovers 3 Nutcracker Ball tickets, and the guys decide to make their final Christmas together the wildest yet. The Night Before is about a man-child attempting to spend Christmas Eve epically fucked up with his ride-or-die bros. The movie shows us that even if you have to fight alone, the Christmas spirit is worth fighting for. Isaac and Chris have an open discussion about how, by carrying on a Christmas tradition that the 3 of them started when they were much younger, they're essentially encouraging Ethan's lifelong drift. Chris has become a well-known football player, and Isaac is now married with a child on the way, but Ethan continues to partake in the same activities that he's done for more than a decade. When Isaac and Chris decide to put their Christmas Eve excesses behind them, Ethan is forced to mature and accept responsibilities for his own actions. One of the many themes of The Night Before is that it's time to consider others. Although none of the characters in The Night Before are nearly as cynical or heartless as Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol, they're all driven by their own self-centered concerns. Chris hopes to impress his football teammates by giving them a large amount of marijuana, a strain aptly named the Ghost of Christmas Past, which they buy from an old high school weed seller called Mr. Green, played by the always incredible Michael Shannon. Ethan wishes to see his ex-girlfriend, Diana, played by Lizzie Clapland, at the Nutcracker Ball. While he may be still resentful of her after their breakup, he tries to employ some Christmas sentimentality to get her back, as a thank you for being her rock.
You're like my Dwayne Johnson.
Thank you.
Throughout her pregnancy, Isaac's wife, Betsy, played by Gillian Bell, gives him a package containing every drug on earth. Isaac's main goal, however, is to find his phone while abusing as many mind-altering chemicals as he can. Seth Rogen's performance in this is absolutely stellar. They all depart in search of their individual goals. Things will inevitably end in disaster. However, they gradually realise that prioritising one another is the only way they can find happiness. Ethan, who had been feeling unimportant and isolated from his friends, has a George Bailey-like realisation from A Wonderful Life that is just as important to them as they are to him. The Night Before shows us that gaining what you want can occasionally be painful. Ethan has a singular focus and purpose to find the location of the Nutcracker Ball, along with Diana, and have the best night ever. To reach his goal, he fights his way through obstacle after obstacle. In one of the greatest moments in the movie, and with help of Miley Cyrus, who steals the show, he proposes to Diana.
You're gonna propose.
I'm gonna propose!
We're gonna propose! And then maybe do the threesome thing. And then you're gonna propose!
And when he does, it appears that the stars have aligned for him. Ethan's ecstatic high abruptly turns into a depressing low when Diana takes Ethan to her side and tells him that the only reason she said yes was because she couldn't say no to a room full of people and Miley Cyrus. This forcing him to admit that no amount of gleaming gifts or lavish parties decked out in tinsel will make everything perfect. Fortunately, pain is only temporary and he has a positive outcome, which does lead to a somewhat forced happy ending for Ethan. By the end of the movie, Ethan realises that while things cannot remain the same indefinitely, he doesn't have to completely abandon his former identity. Traditions do not have to die. They can simply evolve, sometimes bettering what they were. The friendships between the characters serve as the foundation for The Night Before's most memorable sequence, which briefly suspends the drug use and foul language to reveal Ethan, Isaac and Chris to be truly vulnerable with one another. Thankfully, it does not confine them to the outdated notion that men are incapable of expressing their emotions. Rather, it provides the 3 guys with emotions and responses that real people experience. That, in the end, distinguishes The Night Before from other cheesy comedies. As a result, we generally care about the characters and we wish them well, or at least not die of a cocaine overdose. The Night Before's final message is that Christmas isn't about using drugs, going to wild parties, or even getting to perform with Miley Cyrus on stage. The Night Before takes to heart the lesson that life is all about people we love.
We did not kill Jesus! We did not do that!
I came in like a wrecking ball.
Don't stop! Don't stop! I love this company!
What did you guys do to him?
I feel alive!
I think he meant to swing there.
2016's Office Christmas Party is another not-so-typical Christmas movie. It's a comedy tech movie, grandest type of substance-included mayhem hybrid. Xenotech CTO Josh Parker, played by Jason Bateman, assists his incredibly incompetent branch manager and friend Kyle Vanstone, TJ Miller, in saving the company from being shut down by Vanstone's sister, Carol, played by Jennifer Aniston. In order to persuade Walter Davis, played by Courtney B. Vance, the head of a large financial firm, to hire him, they decide to throw a killer office Christmas party, complete with snow machines, water slides, and a copious amounts of alcohol. Davis is looking for a company with inclusive culture, and they hope to persuade him. Nothing, it seems, communicates diversity like allowing everyone in the company to photocopy their butt cheeks. Of course, because this is a comedy, bad things happen all the time and quickly. It's entertaining and enjoyable, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. The greatest villainess character from 22 Jump Street makes an appearance in a film where a man-child has a lot of money but no idea how to manage it. The comedy stars Sam Richardson, Randall Park, Rob Cordy, Vanessa Bayer, and the amazing Divine Joy Randolph, the head of security at Xenotech, who secretly wishes she was in a die-hard situation at work. Everyone here is at their best, perhaps none more than Kate McKinnon. I cannot emphasize this enough.
Well, some people might find your outfit offensive.
And really confusing.
Oh, I thought it was clear. This is a multi-denominational holiday sweater. It has Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Everyone's included.
McKinnon's character, Mary Winetoss, begins the play. Winetoss, the rule-following HR representative, is constantly attempting to maintain order and avoid lawsuits in the Xenotech workplace, and she occasionally goes to grotesque lengths to do so. However, as the film progresses, her character gradually loosens up, eventually becoming dark and daring in a subtle, unhinged manner. She eventually admits to her co-workers, without giving anything away, that she once accused herself of sexual harassment after pretending to drop something on the ground so that she could bend over and grazed the copy room guy's butt with her nose. The film, like any good comedy, constantly plays with expectations. Carol initially appears to be a jealous, daddy-issues sibling who enjoys watching her stupid brother fail, but in the middle of the film, she reveals a new side. Carol is not only extremely talented in almost everything she does, but she can also physically take on any guy without a single hair out of place. Carol enjoys retaliating against the child who ate her cinnamon roll by pretending to call Santa and cancelling the child's presents. There's a lot of over-the-top cringe-worthy moments, including Park and Bayer's characters playing Fred and Allison. They start dating awkwardly at work, but by the time the party is fully underway, things take a completely unexpected turn when Fred begins to roleplay while making out. Fred begins to act like a baby and wants Allison to act as his mother, who initially goes along with the roleplay but eventually creeped out. Office Christmas Party, while not a masterpiece, still has great characters and ample amount of humour to keep you wanting to come back year after year. But what do you think? Are these movies a seasonal go-to Christmas watch, or have you even seen them? Once again, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more British Christmas rambles in the future.